Alright everybody, welcome back to another indie game dev stream. My name's Kevin. If you're catching up, we're making a game, and right now the game is kicking our proverbial butt. So these dev streams are kind of a look behind the curtain about everything that's going on. You will hear our awesome community members chiming in, helping me stay sane, asking questions along the way. It's kind of part of the point, what we can learn from this whole thing. We are currently at a point where we're trying to package our game, and it is a surreal nightmare right now. It just doesn't work. But what we're going to do is I'm going to show you all some updates on a bunch of major changes I made in the game, as well as and then today I think we may take a little bit of a break from the game and rig a character and animate a character. So with that, thanks for being here, buddy. Let's hop in and I'll show you very quickly some of the one of the big changes that I recently did, except I don't have recent levels, so we're gonna do this way. So actually you'll see now, is this streaming? Yeah, okay. So I've added a lot of stuff since the last time you all saw this, but there's now a loader. So when you load into the game, it's supposed to do the loading screen and everything like that. But in the background, it's actually supposed to be loading textures and everything like that, so that during playtesting we don't get glitches. But the major thing that I added, other than Endless Horde Mode, was okay, so basically what happens is when you get to the end of when you get to victory in the pit, what happens is it says, but wait, like the corruption still's there. And so you have to keep fighting. And it's an Endless Horde mode that continually just ramps up number of enemies, strength of enemies, health of enemies, attack damage. And what happened was I realized you get to that point and you as the player are not progressing. You're still getting items and stuff. By the time if I've balanced this right, by the time you get to victory, what you should have is a full build of a magic type and hopefully at least one legendary item, maybe, depending on the run. And then when you get into the horde mode, you still get drops, but they're probably not going to feel fast enough to make you feel powerful or give you agency. So what I did is I added in the idea that the player can control their play style in yet another way, as if we didn't have enough. And you can now control your momentum, which is attack speed, fortitude, which is your armor, fortune is luck for better drops, precision, this is your critical strike chance, lethality is how much critical strike damage you do, your health regen, right now it's at 0, and your so your Aegis Weave is your invincibility shield while in melee combat when executing perfect strikes. Okay, this is stupid OP right now. Like you can basically, so right now this is default attack speed for ranged attacks. I'm clicking as fast as I can. Okay, if we just go ahead and just pump our momentum, so you basically use resonance to increase these stats, and resonance drops from enemies as you play. So if we go 500, now my attack speed is pretty nuts. And if we start the round, these enemies are supposed to be super strong because they're amped health and everything like that. And I don't even have my, let's see here, if we go to magic, by the time you get here, you should have a full build of one magic type. So if all you do is amp your attack speed, this becomes very trivial. And if you have this with a triple shot, it's even crazier. But so basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be spending a bunch of time balancing this before we go out there, so that you all can have fun with it. If I can ever get a package build to work. So, anyways, in addition to everything else, like there's lots of changes that have come in, like Stormbringer was super OP, Fracture Magic was super under OP. Anyways, so those are the game changes. This is everything I'm trying to get to you all in this playtest. Bosses one-shot kill you if you don't have any armor. But anyways, you get the idea. So that's kind of what's going on with the game as a quick update. But like I said, we're not going to worry about that today. We're going to do something because I'm getting so... Did anybody have any questions on that before I go into rigging and animating?
Nope.
Okay. All right. So what are we rigging and animating? We're rigging and animating this guy. I'm actually pretty excited by this. So as much as we don't have time or budget for 3D, I can't let it go. There's a lot of reasons why that is, but one of them is because of the flexibility that the 3D provides in the modeling, in the final sprite images. So the plan right now is I still, even though we have all the 2D work being done, just in case this is not viable, I still have 3D experiments and test cases going in the background, so that we can potentially prove out this other pipeline, whereby what we're going to do is we're going to use this character to render out the sprites. And in general, I was thinking even if we just did it for something like the boss, that would be good, because you know the bosses potentially have complicated whatever. That's my thinking. And the individual who helped with this model, did a great job. I'm super excited by where this is going. We're still not done, but it is at least good enough that I can start rigging it and experimenting with that whole pipeline. Basically, what does this look like when you, let's see here, when you render out a single frame of this guy from an art standpoint. And I think when you look at the size, this is going to be on screen, not that one. Show bones. Oh, I forgot they changed this. Show joints. When you look at what this looks like, because of the size of the character and everything, this model, I think it's gonna look good, right? Once we get kind of like that painterly feel to it and things like that, I think it's gonna be cool. So how does this rigging build system works? Well, as a quick refresher, this is very ancient technology that I used to use to build with. I haven't used in a long time, but it still works, unlike Unreal packaging. Thanks, Unreal. The way this is set up is this is a procedural build process. It's made up of multiple pieces. So the parts that matter for this build, not that one, are the skeleton. This is the elements file. In this particular build system, this is the elements file from a naming standpoint. So we have the elements file, then we have our plain vanilla model file, then we have all of our default build scripts, and then we have our output file. Okay, and what happens is this all through scripts will run and build our output file. I don't think I want this female. FML is not F my life, it's female. Although, thanks for nothing, Unreal. Maybe it'll hear me and play nice. I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna have it. Okay, so what we're doing actually right now is we are actually trying to get our skinning set up. So right now, I don't know if we can toggle all of our joints. Do they have prefixes? They do. So let's see if we set our prefix to owlbear. And we may just have to brute force this because it's been some time since. And we set visibility. Volume display toggle. Yeah, it doesn't like it. Okay, well, let's do this. Let's go and find the joints. And let's just grab a couple of them and see if this thing moves. Okay, it does move. Interestingly enough, though, our legs, hold on. Upper arm, lower arm, and wrist. Okay, so it looks like our legs are definitely attached to the wrong thing, which is kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie. Let's see here, hip. Yeah, these legs aren't attached. Okay, so let's take a look at some NG skinning tools and figure out what's going on with the legs real quick. Because what we want is we want a base skinning for these guys. And let's take a look at leg. Oh, the leg's not even in this set. Okay, so let's redo this. Let's go. Hold on, I'm trying to think you all. Okay, this is the one I want. If we use selected geo, get selected skinning. Yeah, there's no legs in it. That's the problem. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna get all the joints. So $ joints equals skin cluster minus query minus I. I can't remember how these commands worked. It's been so long. Okay, so a little bit of help. We want all the influences. I thought it was I. Base shape, edit, query, add influence. Front of chain. Oh, INF. Whew. That's how long it's been. Holy cow. Okay, so $INF equals skin cluster minus query minus INF. Okay, cool. So let's do this. Let's select all those. Select $influence. Cool. Now let's add the legs. Okay, we got that. Let's delete this. We're going to delete the skin cluster. Edit, delete by type, history. We'll reselect our joints. Let's add in our legs, shall we? So let's do hip, up leg, low leg, foot, heel, ball. Hip, up leg, low leg, foot, heel, ball. And then we'll pick this guy and we will do a skin cluster, bind skin, selected joints. I'm curious. Let's try that. We're going to try this two different ways. Okay, so for skinning, let's try it with one first. Let's just apply this. Okay. And what it should have done is if we do an H, so we're just looking at his underbody. If we look at like his left arm now, low arm is probably going to be the easiest one to see. When we rotate this, it's rigid. See how rigid this is? Like there's not a lot of, actually there's a better way to show you this. Okay, so if we go into skinning tools, that's modeling tools. Here's skinning tools, and we initialize this, and we look at the left arm, for example, and we go to paint it. Okay, what I'm trying to show you is you can see how there's no blending that's happening between the skins, right? It's pretty much all or nothing. So this is the not so awesome job that the geodesic voxel default skinning did. Like, I don't even know what's happening up here, but this will still serve as a great point of showing how this can work. If I switch this, this is very difficult for me to look at, so I prefer to look at it like this, so I can clearly see what's happening. Now, this was just so you all could visualize this. If we take this left low, if we then take this in Maya and we put a delta mush deformer on this thing, what's going to happen is when we bend our low arm, see how it's smooth now? And what we can do is we can change these delta mush deformer settings to adjust how things like the crook of this elbow come together. Here, let me do one other thing here. Let's just take this joint. Let's set a keyframe on it. This is usually how I work. Set a keyframe on it, go forward in time, and now we can kind of experiment with this delta mush. So if we take this delta mush and we want to change how it bends. So right now we've got inward constraints. That's not what we want. That's not really have a distance weight. That's not bad. And smoothing step, let's go. Oh, look, they bound this stuff. Interesting, this used to be unlimited. Let's see if they changed this. So you can basically use this to kind of preserve volume and stuff like that. Now, this is not going to be a perfect, fully corrective, etc. deformation, but it also doesn't matter in this case. It just needs to be good enough. So if we take our low leg and we bend it with the delta mush on, you can see what's going on with our, let's do shading, flat shade all. Oh, that didn't help. Smooth shade all. Lighting, flat lighting. Nope, that doesn't help. Default. Okay, because the textures are built in. You can see in here, if we take this delta mush deformer and we just turn it off, you can see what happens to our deformations. It's a massive difference. The reason I'm showing you this is that setup. Now let's go back and redo this skinning. Okay, so let's undo that back to normal. Before we redo the skinning, I am going to finish my thought. So the quick thought to finish using a delta mush deformer or something like it is what you do is it's a lot easier to do a rigid bind on this arm if I want to paint it, because all I have to do is paint 0 and 1 and get it to be 0 to 1 basically. So intensity, add, like I could change this to a 1 for example, change our brush size, and what it's going to do is it's going to do a reasonable job of smoothing all this. So the actual work of getting this to look good is just a case of making this look like a rigid bind, almost like a Lego. And this can be easier to deal with than dealing with trying to chase skin weights around. So if we go, and then let's go to the spine. So this would be the workflow. I would go through and I would do it like this, and then I would turn on. So if we take this now and we grab our clavicle as an example, if we grab this clavicle and we rotate it upward, this is with the delta mush on. Looks pretty good, right? If we turn off delta mush, if we turn it off and we do that same movement, it does not look good. There are points flying from all over the place. Okay, now what you can do is you can do that rough bind, do it like a rigid bind, get it so everything's at least moving with the right stuff. Then you can put a delta mush on it, and then you can bake that back out to a more traditional skin deformer. Okay, so, or we could just do a more traditional skin deformer from the start. So let's just get this guy. Let's get our influences again. Let's delete history on it so that there is delete by type history, so that there is no skinning. So our character does not move anymore. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing we did before, but this time I'll show you all the difference between. So here's our joints, and this time when we do our skin, we're going to bind skin. Okay, and selected joints, that's cool, but rather than closest distance, let's use a geodesic voxel, and rather than 1 influence, we're going to use 4. And we're going to change our geodesic voxel resolution 1024, that's fine. As cool as it sounds, and as cool as this or the heat map sounds, I have generally found it is just easier for me to paint it. But I'll show you what we get by default out of this. So let's apply and close that. The geodesic voxel takes a little bit longer than a normal skin cluster. Oh, actually it takes so much longer that it crashes. All right, I guess we're gonna redo that. I don't think I've ever had the geodesic voxel crash Maya before. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a regular distance based. No, we'll give geodesic voxel one more try. Let's give it one more try. So is that in my recent files? Yes, it is. Okay, so let's grab this guy. Okay, and we need the legs again, because that's what we were missing. So hip. Hip. And then let's add in the rest of our influences. Grab this guy. Skin cluster. Bind skin. Selected joints 4. And we're using geodesic voxel. We'll give it one more shot. Apply. Oh no. Edit delete by type history. Apply. Let's see if it crashes. If it crashes again, we're just gonna. It hasn't crashed doing this before. What we'll do is we'll go back and do it the traditional way, just so I can show you the differences. Computer is definitely struggling with it though, because I can hear hitches in the audio, which also
the live stream is also struggling a bit.
It's probably thinking pretty hard. This may be a bad idea. I was gonna say, if it takes that long, we may have to come up with a new plan. Okay, cool. Let's save this just in case we do crash again, and also because I'm not worried about my skinning being amazing right now. So let's take a look at what this geodesic voxel gave us instead. So if we take this and we initialize our skinning and we go to paint on it. So remember, the last version we did had very stark differences between the colors. This is all nice and smooth and quote pretty. However, the danger for me with this is this arm might have calculated some of these values are so small. There might be 0.01 weight on this vertex down here. And what that means, if you don't know about skinning, is that this vertex is going to follow this joint by 1%. And maybe there's 0.101 or 0.1% here, and that means this elbow vertex is going to follow the hip bone by 10%. That's what all these numbers mean. But what that does do, though, is if we take a look at our arms and we do this, we take a look at our upper arm, not our upper arm, that's not going to show us. You'll notice that the lower arm bends out of the box much better without using the delta mush. Okay? So, and then you can also add on top of this a delta mush. And you can use that to potentially help preserve volume and things like that, and then bake this all out. All of this is fine, right? All of this works. If for what we need, because we're going to be rendering this as 2D, we just need this thing to be posable. That's all we need. We don't need anything crazy. And like, this is what I'm talking about though. Moving this hip, look at how much of the chest is moving with the upper leg. Okay, and that is not as a result of, well, it actually might be a result, some of it might be a result of the delta mush. Yeah, so this is like a skinning thing. So if we take this and we skin the left up leg and we paint, look at how far this thing goes up here. This is the default. That's pretty far. So I'm just gonna replace this. Distribute to other influences. That's the right one. I need the right one. Actually, let's do the left side because I prefer to mirror that way. So let's take the right hip and go this way, and let's take the left hip and go this way. Okay, and then paint, and then I want to switch this so I can see. Okay, so this is still bending with the leg, which means it's going to the low leg maybe, or the foot, the heel, the ball. Interesting. Oh, it's the hip actually. Wait. Oh, I'm painting on the hip. Am I rotating the hip? Hold on a second. I lost track of what I was doing. I did. I rotated the hip. That's why. Okay, if we rotate the upper leg now, we should be fine. Okay, cool. So if we come back here, paint this. So this is our upper leg. Smooth this. Take our hip. Add. Just to get this so that the right stuff's moving with the right thing. So we would basically sit here and basically paint like this. Now, I'm gonna go back. I think I'm gonna go back to the other way though. Just for speed of presentation and everything else. And also because I find personally, I have found that it's more difficult to chase down all the different places that all of these values have gone to, as opposed to just starting with one value and adding where I want to. That's just been my personal findings. Delete by type history. Then let's, oh shoot, let's not do that yet. Let's do this. Okay, then let's delete by type history. Okay, and then let's select our influences and rebuild this one more time the way I want to. And we will get back into building and then animating. So let's see here, that's that. And then we're gonna do skin, blind skin. We can use this, select joints, one, apply. Should be much faster. Or maybe not. All right, we gotta wait for this again. My fault. So once this finishes, what we're gonna do is we're going to go the next step, and we're gonna finish the build process. So to do that, what we need to do is we need to export all of these skin weights. And then what will happen is the build will pull in the model file, the rig file, it will build, it will bind the skin, it will attach the skin to the bones, and then it will import the weights that we export, and we should be good to go. So back to this, initialize the skinning, paint the weights, see what we got. Left, up, leg, that seems a little bit excessive. So let's just fix a couple of these things. Spine D. Hold on a second. Spine. Oh, it only has... Okay, we're gonna do this one more time, y'all, because I'm not playing this game. History. But we're not gonna use geodesic voxel this time, don't worry. Select influences. Skin, bind skin. Oh, I see what happened. I didn't have them selected because I guess they weren't part of the cluster. Neck A. Interesting, it must have culled them out. Let's just go closest distance. 1, apply, close. Initialize skinning layers. Paint. Okay, so let's clear this out. Let's take a look at our left leg. Okay, cool, better. Spine. Spine A. Oh, that seems high. Pelvis. Okay, let's just add some to our pelvis real quick. So this is more our pelvis region. We'll just get a quick thing in here. Okay, and then spine A. Let's make this a little stronger. Undo. Okay. And then let's do spine B. A lot of this isn't going to be spine B, it's going to be the C. That's fine. And then where's our clavicles? Here's our left clavicle. See, our left clavicle is all the way over here. So that is not what we want. So let's go, we're going to do this. Get our left clavicle somewhat reasonable. Okay, and then our right clavicle, we're gonna have to fix, otherwise Miriam's gonna get confused. We want to take all the weight from the left clavicle so the right's not stealing it. And then let's go back to this. In this one we might be, usually I do not do this where you replace, because you don't, if I paint this, I don't know where the weights are gonna go. So usually I don't do this, but we're gonna replace on the surface, intensity, redistribute. Interesting. It's not actually doing anything. Oh, I know why. Replace. What? Okay, we'll go to add. Let's go to add and go to the right clavicle. Make sure that there's nothing from the left side. And then the right clavicle, left clavicle, right clavicle, we'll fix this with the neck in a second. Okay. Okay, cool. So let's clear this out and let's go with the neck to steal some of that back. Such a giant. We just need this reasonable. We don't need this great. Because like I said, we're gonna cheat and use the delta mush. And then our head. Where's our head? Head. And I actually do want to be able to control the ears though, so we'll keep that. Okay, so let's do a quick check. Left up arm, semi-reasonable. Left low arm, semi-reasonable. Left clav, semi-reasonable. Cool. Okay, let's go with this, and let's go back to painting again, and let's smooth this. It looks like the order I bound this in was... Is there a way to show this by the hierarchy? No. Okay, fine. Clavicle. We'll just do this. Left clavicle. Let's just smooth this a little bit. Cool. And then we'll go to our spine. D doesn't have any weight on it. Okay, we'll deal with spines later, except for this one. Let's add and smooth this. Okay, B, smoothing the spine. A, this is very rough and quick, but hopefully you all will get the idea. Okay, and the pelvis. Yeah, we don't want this much in the pelvis. Let's just smooth this out a bit. Okay, and before we crash, let's save this. And then let's just check to see if we've fixed our primary issue. Yeah, so our character can turn and look in different directions and stuff. We're gonna cheat and use a delta mush in this case, which is fine. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to export our skin weights. So let's bring back our workshop, our puppet workshop. Okay, and in here we have a influence deformed by GUI. All right, so let's get the selected skinning. Okay, so that's that one. And then let's do, we need all the rest of our stuff. Show geometry, polygon surfaces. And we basically need to do every single one of these. So let's see if we can do this. Get selected skinning. The mace isn't even skinned. So we're gonna grab all of these. And if I remember how this works correctly, right, let's save that. And then let's open our model file for the owlbear. So we need to bring back our owlbear. We need to set our project. Owlbear 3D. So in here, we'll auto find our files. I'm gonna open the model file. Yes. Okay, so what this should do is if we apply this to the model file, what that does is that should go through and tag all of these joints. Not joints, geometry. So if we take this geometry, open it, and we look at extra attributes, you can see this geometry now knows that it is deformed by the left and the right pauldron. Okay, so we're close. Now what we need to do is we need to go back to our skin file, and we need to export those weights. So let's take file, no, not file, skinning, skin weight, import export. That's this guy. Okay, and I have to remember how this stuff gets named. So let's try that. We're just going to try the body for now. So this is the body low poly. Okay, so we're going to call this body low poly underbar skin underbar version 001 001 period AAW. And we need a folder before we do this, otherwise this won't work. So inside of our depot for art, for character, for players, in the owlbear 3D folder, we need an AAW folder. New folder AAW. Okay, so now when we export this, inside this folder should be a file called body skin. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We don't need to save any of this. Let's rerun our build now. We're finally at a point where this is what we've been trying to get to. Now we're gonna have to export skin for each of these pieces. That's okay, this will prove out the point. So at this point, what we should be able to do is execute our build. It's gonna tell us that that does not save the file. We'll kick it off. So this is the rig and the model combined, and then theoretically, this is also importing the skin weights, and we will know if that's true when we move this guy if the character moves. This is the game rig. Character does not move. So let's check something. I want to check the unrig. Does it have skinning? It does not. That is okay. So let's go back to the game rig. No. Let's see if we can see what. That's the fingers. Here, let's do this one more time. Let's clear our history. Let's rebuild this one more time. Oh, we're not using this prefix. Execute the build. Yes. Is it because I named that? Oh, I may need to name that file. Hold on. It's building again. So interestingly enough, it does say it found stuff to bind to. Let me just see if there's a quick. That's pick walking. transforms, nodes, element file, mirroring. That does all the builds, that just transforms. Those are the pauldrons. Control positions. Sizes. It is doing the bind too. I wonder. Well, one thing we can do is we can just pick this geometry, pick this guy, and just import it. And when we do that, it should be there. Oh, what? No matches name skin cluster. Oh God, you kidding me? AAW. Is there even a skin cluster? Oh, I know why. I think I know why. Oh, it doesn't have a skin cluster at all. Yeah, there's no skin cluster here, so it's not actually creating the skin cluster. We will troubleshoot that later. Let's try to import this way. Select $IF. Oh. Okay, our build system is semi-broken because our Unreal skeleton didn't get imported, which is interesting. We'll have to troubleshoot that. But we're not gonna have time for that. If we undo is turned off, are you kidding me? What world do we live in that undo would ever get turned off, man? Select the influences. And then when we import this, okay, now it has a skin cluster. Okay. Okay, so that worked. We just need to figure out why. Import weight per vertex, build a face, build auxiliary helpers. We're gonna try 2 experiments here. Execute that. Do we have our unskeleton? No, it's missing. So we're basically missing our entire Unreal Engine skeleton, you all. Let's see if I can find a character that works. Player, card dealer, Maya, scenes. Game rig, open, don't save. So this has a root in it. Let's change this to, what's the card dealer? Let's try card dealer real quick. Card dealer. Auto find files. File. Set project. To card dealer Maya. Select the folder. Auto find the files. Card dealer. Execute. Yes. No object matches name. Ball offset. All right, well, it does not look like we're going to get to animate today because our skeleton is not importing properly. And rather than brute forcing this, I'm going to try to figure out what's going on because we're going to need this. So let's see here. Recent projects. Auto find files. I want to try one other thing here. Yeah, something in our build process is actually nuking the Unreal Engine skeleton that I generally use. And as a result of that, we are not getting our character skinning imported because there's no bones to put it onto because they've all been deleted. Which is a good time. All right, it has been one of those weeks, you all. I am not gonna torture you with watching me try to debug what is going on with this character build system. Generally speaking, this is the workflow. Skinning, etc. should all just import when the procedural system's right. It has been a long time since I used this in this state because we've been so focused on 2D. I'm sure there's some dumb setting or thing I forgot to check or save or whatever. I will figure it out. I'll report back to you next time when we do that. And maybe next time we'll be doing some animations because I'm not going to be working on this between streams. I am still trying to get the game packaged and out to you all. For everybody who's in the stream, did anybody have any questions for the stream before we wrap this up?
Yeah, were you planning to animate in 3D and then use that for like a 2D animation, or okay,
that's the experiment.
You did not think so yet. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's the experiment.
What would you do in regards to frame rate? Will you like animate the 3D in full 60 FPS and then tone it down for like the 2D animation, or what's the?
Generally, we animate in 30 or 24. 30 for game, generally speaking, 24 for film. There are very, very rare occasions we might go to 60, but no. So 30 is that. But yes, So this is kind of an interesting thing, and this is me hedging my bets. I would animate it at 30 because one, I'm more comfortable with it. You could argue that you could animate it on 2s at that rate, meaning basically rather than having all 30 frames, you'd only have 15, and you just does get spread out. 2s, 4s, whatever works for the 2D style that you're going for. In this case, I still have this. Part of it is my own bias. I'm very and much more comfortable in 3D, but there is still this thing in the back of my mind where we're all going to play test this game, and over the next 7 months we have left to do it, we are going to get to a point where the feedback I'm getting back is not the game that we're trying to make. And in order for me to do the combat that I want to do, it might have to be a full 3D game. So imagine we do this whole thing 2D, we ship it, y'all are playing it, whatever. We may be at a point where it's like, we're just done with this game. We just have to put a stamp on it, we're done with it. And I may not get to my goal, the goals that I'm hoping to get to as part of this combat platformer. And in that world, or we get to a point where you're like, oh, you know what, this is pretty cool. It's fun, etc. There's a lot in here, but wouldn't it be even cooler if it was a Gears of War 3D third person instead, and then you'd had full agency over dodges and directionality and everything like that? It would be nice if we made that decision in a year that I have all the assets to make the switch. Right?
Yeah.
So if I'm going to do it, part of the reason is, one, it is easier for me to get a side view spinning character with a 3D model than it is for me personally to draw it. Right now, the concept and art team is doing a great job of drawing everything I need, but it's also a lot of back and forth as well. So I'm getting all the poses I need, and it is in a lot of ways faster than 3D initially, but in the long run, not so much if we want to go, for example, right now one of the plans is we take the images that I create from the 2D planes, and then those get passed back to art, and then they go and they hand paint every frame of an animation. That's nuts. Okay, so there is a point at which 2D is not more efficient than 3D, depending on what we end up for our final art style. And so I'm juggling that combined with the future of potentially everybody's like, yeah, that was fun. It was a cool little game. Great job, buddy. But it should be 3D. And we'll see. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm kind of basically killing two birds with one stone with this.
Trying not to bench yourself in a corner, so to speak.
Yeah, kind of. Which also means I'm doing a lot of extra work I probably don't have to do.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Cool. Anybody else? All right. Let's wrap this up, and then we'll hang out and do some game dev chatting stuff. So everybody who's watching this, hopefully by now you have figured out, I have figured out, you haven't, I have figured out what is going on with packaging, and you are already playing our latest build. As always, thank you for being the best part of this adventure, for all your feedback, your support, spreading the word, everything. My name's Kevin. We will see you in an upcoming DevStream, live stream, video release, short, something like that. Have a great one. Take it easy.